Hello, and welcome to episode 204 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Bryan.
And I'm James.
And this week we're going to finish up our historic, or I guess, Explorer Anthology talk because they actually released the last three cards were good.
Yeah, and they weren't at all what we were expecting, so we got to talk about them. They were actually none of the colors that we thought they were going to be.
No. And then some things about Brothers War Limited that I think I'm using Brothers War Limited to talk about like the idea of like shaking off some preconceptions you may have about like a format or a set.
Yeah.
And like why that's important. So just kind of like maybe like a level up thing or like a way to improve, but using Brothers War Limited as like the kind of the backdrop.
The delivery vehicle.
Yeah. So if you want to get at us on social media, all of those links, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, are all in the description. So go check those out and come interact with us and say hey.
Yeah, let us know what you think. If you want to support us, there's two ways you can do it. The first is our TCG player affiliate link, tcg.CasualTryHardMTG.com. Head on over there, buy whatever you're going to buy, singles, sealed product, accessories, whatever. And as long as you use that link, we will get a cut to help keep the show going. If you want to support us more directly, you can go to patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Patrons get access to our show notes. They get access to our pre-show, basically just right about another hour of content from us every week. And you get put on my mailing list for when I have cool stuff to send out to you guys. So if any of that interests you, or if you just like what we do and want to throw us a couple bucks, we'd appreciate that as well. Patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG is where you can do that. One last thing before we start the show is our YouTube channel, Casual Tryhard MTG on YouTube. Bryan does limited content Monday, Wednesday, Friday, posts a video up. Our show comes out there, a video version of it, every Thursday alongside our regular show. And then on Tuesdays, I've been recording some kind of weird constructed decks. I don't think I'm going to do anything there that's super like meta dependent or like game breaking or how to grind the meta. Just like random fun stuff, I think is a good place to keep the Tuesday content. So that's what I've been doing there. Some fun decks I've been playing, so make sure you check that out.
Our very own Saffron Olive.
Yeah.
You can start with, I'm James, probably better known as Greasy Jockey.
There you go.
So there we go.
Maybe that's how we'll start the next one.
There you go. He hasn't trademarked that. He doesn't have merch that says probably better known as.
I mean, so we could.
We definitely could. Hello and welcome to episode blah, blah, blah. As I mess it up, there. Perfect.
Awesome.
So, last podcast we had 21 out of the 24 Explorer Anthology 2 cards, and we looked at the cards and we're like, okay, there are 3 white cards and a devoid card. 2 blue cards, a black card, 3 red cards, 3 green cards and a devoid card, 3 multicolored cards, 3 colorless cards. We were like, oh, so I bet you they owe us 2 black cards and a blue card.
Yeah, guess what we didn't get?
Any blue cards, any black cards.
Correct.
They're like, nah, we owe you nothing.
That's right. We're going to give you an extra white card.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start with the white card. They gave us Brave the Elements.
Yeah, that's important for the heroic decks, right?
Well, it doesn't target, right? So it's basically a way that I think some of the mono white decks have been. So it's white for choose a color, white creatures you control, gain protection from the chosen color till the end of turn.
No, that's not the card I thought it was then. Okay.
No, so this is your opponent plays Anger of the Gods. You give all your little white weenies pro red.
I gotcha.
Or your opponent is playing mono green. You give your creatures pro green and you hit them for 1,000,000.
Yep.
Right, so it's a way to protect your creatures and a way to push a bunch of damage. And I think in some of the like white aggressive decks, I've seen some of these floating around in the Pioneer sideboards. Like, hey, like if you're using damage-based sweepers or if you just need to push damage, this is a card you can bring it out of the sideboard.
Makes sense.
So we got that, and kind of a sideboard card. And then they gave us 2 lands.
Yeah, they're both kind of heavy hitters too.
Yeah. So they gave us Mana Confluence, the Better City of Brass. So it's just tap, pay a life, add 1 mana of any color. So it just fixes your mana.
Kind of for free, as long as you're playing like either an aggressive or a combo deck.
Yeah, where like, if you're not planning to tap it 6 times, it's fine. Right? Aggressive decks, you're planning to tap it 3 times.
4 times, maybe.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with a combo deck. Like, I'm playing a bunch of cards that are of a whole bunch of different colors because they weirdly work together.
Yeah.
So I need to be able to always cast them, but I only need to tap this a couple times because the 3rd time I tap it, you die.
That's right.
So, and like got up to like $25 or $30.
They were more than that for a little bit, I think.
Were they 50?
They
were a lot for a while.
40 when I sent mine off.
Yeah, they were a lot. I haven't sent mine off. Maybe I should have.
Well, I got the promo ones, whatever the promo.
Okay.
Because they had a promo version that came out for like I forget what set it was, but I got those, and I think at that time they were still like $40, so I sent my originals out.
Yeah, they are currently $23 in paper.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is just a card that sees play because it's like there's nothing else like it in Pioneer.
Yep.
And we also got an archetype in a card.
Self-contained archetype.
Self-contained archetype. We got Nykthos Shrine to Nyx.
Yep. This is important for the green devotion decks, right?
So you may have played against some like knockoff mono green lists.
Yeah.
So I've seen people using Lotus Field kind of as like a bad Nykthos. But now you have good Nykthos, so...
No, you don't need bad Nykthos.
Right,
Nykthos
so
at home.
You want to basically use Kiora to untap Nykthos and just make oodles of mana and then use it to cast whatever garbage you got off of your Karn.
Yeah.
Particularly the... whatever the weird black artifact that has a green spell on the back from Strixhaven.
Black artifact that has the green
Pestilence
spell.
Cauldron?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so.
No, that's not it. Because Pestilence Cauldron doesn't bring anything up. Huh. Anyway, I don't know exactly what it's called. Great. Good job, me. I don't know what it's called. But, so, the wonder that is current Magic design, they put an artifact on the back. They put a spell on the back of an artifact so Karn can get it. And so now you have this infinite combo where you gain a bunch of life and then mill your opponent out.
Yep.
And it was Pestilent Cauldron. There we go.
Oh, so close.
Yeah, so the back is Restorative Burst, 3 green sorcery, return up to 2 target creature, land, or planeswalker cards from your graveyard to your hand. Each player gains 4 life. Exile Restorative Burst. So, the way the combo is going to work in Explorer, because we don't have the Chain Veil.
Yeah.
is your opponent needs to get Kiora and Karn in their graveyard.
Okay.
And then they use the Karn they have in play to get Pestilent Cauldron. They cast Restore. They tap their Nykthos, untap it with Kiora, tap their Nykthos again, have a ton of mana. Restorative Burst, get back the Kiora and the Karn in their graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
Play Kiora, play Karn.
Legend rule the old ones away.
And then, since Restorative Burst exiles itself,
you can go get it with
Karn can get it again.
Yeah.
So, as long as you're making enough mana with Nykthos that you're, as long as you're generating mana, you just can keep doing this over and over and over again.
Yep.
No, you're like, wow, that's a lot of mana because it's 5 for Restorative Burst and then 7 for the Planeswalkers.
Mm-hmm.
So you need 12 mana, but in a deck that plays green cards pretty consistently,
mm-hmm.
right? Old Growth Troll into what's he called? Cavalier of Thorns, right? If you have those two out, your Nykthos is tapping for a bunch of mana each turn.
But it's tapping for 6, and then 6. You get an untap with Kiora.
Mm-hmm. And it costs 2 to activate it. So, if you can get to, 7...
Yeah.
7 devotion, then, you just get to cast Restorative Burst over and over and over again. And each player gains 4 life. Well, when you play Pestilence Cauldron, it's one of its abilities is pay 1, tap. Each opponent mills cards equal to the amount of life you gained this turn.
That's cute.
So, basically, you only have to do this loop 5 times. You have to find some way to get black mana.
Yeah.
To cast Pestilence Cauldron. I forget exactly how they do that, but I'm sure there's just something that Karn can go get on the last cycle.
That makes a black.
So, so then you just have to, get, 5... you just have to get black and then 4... and then 3 mana and a black and you win the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that's going to work. And so the way you interact with it currently is you either blow up their Nykthos or Alpine Moon it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have to Pithing Needle Karn.
Okay.
Because, right, it's a graveyard based combo, but they don't have to use their graveyard. They do and they don't, right?
Well, I mean, you got to be able to play the Kiora out of the graveyard.
Yeah. So the problem is when I think that the current version in Pioneer that has the Chain Veil doesn't need to use their graveyard. I'm not quite as familiar with. Some of them are also playing Teferi, who slows the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are playing that as kind of an additional splash card.
Yeah.
Where it gives you Nykthos untaps.
Mm-hmm.
So, and with Teferi, then you can just keep activating Chain Veil.
Yeah.
But we don't have Chain Veil, thankfully. But version that was but the version that was graveyard centric was still one of the better decks in Pioneer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing Explorer, you now have to figure out how to deal with the deck that was nominally the best deck in Pioneer. I know it didn't do well at this last tournament.
Yeah.
But also, if you've got some wild cards, oh gosh, what is it called? There was a card that I gotta find it real quick. Where's that? Where's it at? There it is. Woodcaller and automation.
Oh, from Brothers War?
Mm-hmm. 10 mana for an 8/8. Prototype for 4 green.
Mm-hmm.
When Woodcaller animation enters the battlefield, if you cast it, untap target land you control. This land becomes a tree folk, equal power toughness, with power and toughness equal to Woodcaller animation's power and toughness. So this was like the deck that finished 8th,
mm-hmm.
or sorry, 10th at Atlanta. This was one of the things that it had in its sideboard for its Karn to go get.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, if your Nykthos could make 5 mana, you could go get Woodcaller automation, play it for its prototype cost that gives you 2 more devotion.
Yeah.
Untaps your Nykthos, and then lets you like go off from there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is another card that we'll probably see play in those decks.
Yeah.
I mean, those decks are good because they have right. There are just times that you lose to Elf into Old Growth Troll.
Mm-hmm. Just on the
into
beatdown
Old
plan.
Growth Troll. Yeah. And then there are times that you lose to Elf into Kiora, into Nykthos,
yeah,
into Old Growth Troll, into like make 1,000,000 mana on turn 4 or 5 or whatever. So it's just one of those decks that wins on multiple can win on multiple angles.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the Woodcaller automation is
I think it's Automaton.
Automaton?
Yeah. There's no I.
Yeah. Hooked on Phononics didn't get to West Virginia. Hooked on Phononics people were like, these people put an R in the word wash. We can't help them. There's nothing we can do for them here. But
I knew a guy from Colorado that everything was Warsh also. So maybe it's not just West Virginia.
Maybe it's not just West. New Jersey, it's not water, it's wooder.
Wooder.
Yeah, it's very oaken there. Very, very woody. Wooder. Anyway, so good old Automaton here.
Yeah.
Could be something that might be worth crafting if this is something that you want to play.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not, other than like Pithing Needle the Karn, I don't know what else you're supposed to do, honestly.
Isn't there, I feel like there's an enchantment or an artifact or something that lets, damping, wet ball.
Yeah, damping sphere.
That makes it harder. Actually, that probably stops it.
Probably. And they have to make a ton of mana.
Well, and then like every time they go through the loop, it gets more expensive.
Yeah.
So that, but also, isn't there like an enchantment or artifact or something that stops you from casting spells?
Deafening Silence.
Yeah, that would do it too.
There's Deafening Silence, and then there's
isn't there one that like checks the number of lands you have?
Oh, what's her name? There's a creature.
Is it a creature?
That's blue-white.
Maybe.
That you can't cast. Anything that costs 0 gets countered, and you can't cast spells that have higher mana value than the number of lands you control.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, it's like a blue-white for like a 2/3 or something, but I forget what it's called. Too many products. But
tune into our pre-show to get the reference.
Yeah, for that reference. Yeah, like it is a deck as demonstrated by like the results of like the Atlanta like whatever GP that wasn't really a GP that you had to qualify for GP.
Yeah.
Right, like the deck didn't do great, but that's because I think everyone had like 6 sideboard cards for it.
Mm-hmm.
So like you're gonna have to build your decks with this deck in mind.
Yeah.
And like, no, I haven't updated Elementals list. I haven't posted, but like Elementals has like a hard time because it wants to go long and like take big turns and grind you out. and sometimes you're just dead.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, I guess I lost.
I don't know that it matters how many cards you draw off your Omnath if you just die.
Exactly. I mean, and then there are people that'll say like, oh, mono green just loses to like Anger of the Gods, which is true, right? If they go like elf into elf into elf and you sweep them, yeah, you probably win that game.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you die.
Mm-hmm. Isn't there also like a hate bear that stops planeswalkers from being activated?
There's the Anointed Peacekeeper that you can pay. It makes them pay an additional 2 mana every time they activate the named planeswalker.
I don't know if that's the one I was thinking of.
One that just like says planeswalkers can't be activated.
Well, it was a tax, like they put a tax on them, but I don't think it was named. I thought it was just blanket planeswalkers.
Anointed Peacekeeper, I know it's like named and it costs 2 more, I think.
Yeah, okay. Now, to be fair, like a lot of people ask questions about, how to play against a certain deck or what can I do or whatever. And all of the cards we've just talked about are not typically the way I like to approach a situation like that.
No.
I really don't like silver bullets because number one, you have to find them and they're situational and like they might just rot in your hand. Like if you're drawing you have a tax piece to stop their planeswalkers and they're on the beatdown plan, like that piece isn't doing you a whole lot of good.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind also, is maybe in order to beat it, like stacksy pieces or, hate cards aren't necessarily the right way. Maybe tweak your strategy some.
Yeah, it's difficult because like the Pioneer format, if we look at Goldfish, which now, I'm using the Pioneer as the where's it at? There you go. As the kind of the benchmark, because that's what this format's going to look a lot closer to, right? The top 2 decks are Rakdos Midrange and Nykthos Ramp.
Yeah.
Now, Is It Phoenix did really well in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the top 8 was like 8 different decks or something.
Yeah.
But Rakdos is 17% of the meta game, and Nykthos is 16%. And then Is It Phoenix is 10%. And the way you beat Rakdos is not the way you beat Nykthos.
Right.
So it's really hard because you've got these 2 like divergent strategies, and you can probably be good against Rakdos, and then you're probably giving up the mono green matchup to some degree.
Yeah.
Or you can be good against mono green, and then you're giving up the Rakdos matchup.
I mean, Rakdos probably has a decent matchup against mono green, though, right?
I think Rakdos has a bad matchup because,
really?
like, I think it just goes bigger than they do. Right? Like, there just comes a point where, like, if they stick a Kiora and they don't downtick, and then every creature, like, a bunch of the creatures they play just cantrip for the rest of the game, right? I think it just becomes hard.
Yeah, I just figured with as much interaction as they're running and, like, incidental graveyard hate, like, I don't know, I would figure they had a reasonable matchup.
Here's the other problem. You know how, like, I talk about Elementals just has a bunch of cards that when your Rakdos opponent looks at them, that you just go, like, you can never beat this hand?
Yeah.
How does Rakdos beat Storm the Festival?
Oh, okay. There you go.
4 of them?
Yeah.
I just wanna like run something by you. I'd like to just Elvish Mystic, Llanowar Elf, okay. Old Growth Troll, okay. Cavalier Thorns, neat. Kiora, alright. Karn, cool. Teferi, who slows the sunset, fine. Nicopolis Dragon God. Storm the Festival, Wolfalo Haven, Oath of Nissa. Just that Oath of Nissa is like putting Bolus on her back.
Yep.
Like, hey buddy, hop on. And then the sideboard is literally just a Karn board.
Yeah.
Darksteel Citadel, Tormod Script, Haywire Might, Pithing Needle, Wet Ball, Damping Sphere, Heart of Kirin, the Stone Brain, Unlicensed Hearse, Pestilent Cauldron, Transmogrifying Wand.
Ooh,
yeah. The Chain Veil, which is $25. 2 big boats.
Gotta have 2 of them.
Gotta have 2 of them. Godfrey Statue and Cityscape Leveler. Hey, I got these Cityscape Levelers for $4. They're now 7.
Nice.
Did it. Yeah. So, like, I don't know how you beat Storm the Festival.
Yeah.
It's like Thoughtseize. Neat. If I get to 6 mana, you lose.
Yeah.
Okay. And on the way, I'm going to play a 4/4 that dies into another 4/4. And when it's dead, it ramps me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll play a 3/2. Neat. But you have like this deck that like goes big, and then you have like Rectus, which is interaction and small.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to. It's kind of like, the decks that were good against like Boomer Jund weren't good against like Tron.
Right.
Kind of deal. It's like, oh, I can handle the interaction and stuff. Like, oh, I'm, mono red. I'm good against Tron.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't get to beat Jund consistently.
Right.
Because they just kill all your stuff. Or like, oh, I'm infected. I'm good against Tron. Well then. So
never gonna beat Jund.
Never gonna beat Jund. So what is your hand? 6 removal spells and a land. I win. Oh, okay, you do. I have 3
How many
lightning
protection
bolts.
spells you got?
I have 3 lightning bolts, 2 fatal pushes, a land, and a Thoughtseize.
Yep.
Well, I think I'm gonna keep this. You just lose.
Discard your
right.
Bladed Agent.
And then but so if you play Explorer, like I'm gonna have to figure out how to like beat this deck, or I'm just gonna like have to play it or something. Like I'm interested in playing it, but at the same time, it's just like it doesn't seem. Clicking through the combo seems miserable.
Yeah, I've done a lot of clicking through combos lately on Tuesday Tomfoolery, and normally, like once your opponent knows what's up, they just scoop. Because it's equally as boring for them to sit through it as it is for you.
Yeah. And I mean, Arena is so much more fast-paced, it's very rare for you to like come close to timing someone out.
Yeah.
It happens, and like you feel it, because you're like, oh my god, like this game is taken forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how do you only have 3 minutes left on your clock? What have I done to hurt you?
Yeah.
I mean, what's scary is like after Nykthos, like the next thing that has to come on to Arena is probably Hidden Strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the next thing. If you're a Greasefang person, you get Satyr Wayfinder, which is the card that was missing from that deck.
Yep. I'm excited for Satyr Wayfinder.
Yeah. I like how we're up to nine vehicles in what's it called? In Greasefang now. But yeah, so oh wow. It doesn't play Stitcher Supplier anymore.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's Rafine's Informant, Satyr Wayfinder, the Greasy Boy, and a single Tassiger.
Single Tassiger?
I think is like the okie doke.
Yeah.
Oh, like I guess I can sometimes just put a Tassiger onto the battlefield on turn 3, and that's good enough.
Yeah.
Three lilies, like, well, okay. There are, I guess it depends. There are 3 citrus suppliers in 64% of decks.
Okay.
So I guess, and then the other thing that is we don't have for this deck, depending on how you build it, is some people will play Eldritch Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, you just get to go get a Greasy Boy.
Yeah.
Which is very nice. Well, we will. So, yeah. But yeah, just keep that in mind that we've got this, like, new deck to deal with, and you got to figure out how to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Or what your plan's going to be.
I'm sure we'll have some more insights once. When is this supposed to go live? Do you know?
The 13th.
The 13th.
So Tuesday?
Yeah.
So you will be playing against Nykthos by the time you hear this.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll have some insights for you in between.
Hopefully, yeah, we'll figure some stuff out.
Yeah, and we'll let you know.
All right. Now some Brothers Limited talk. Or general big Magic thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that Brothers Limited for me is a reminder or a lesson in like letting go of your like preconceptions about like a format or a card.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And like that might be kind of a function of us doing the show also, because one of the things we try and do in our like set review episodes is kind of give first impressions of what a format is going to look like before we even play the format. So it might be kind of tough, and this might be where you fell into the trap, is we kind of pegged this as being a rampy go big format right off the rip, because all of the mechanics like want to make extra mana or cheat things into play or are big.
Yeah, so like, just for example, right? You have all the prototype cards, right? You've got 7 mana 4/3, 7 mana 6/4, 7 mana 6/5 that gains you 4 life, 7 mana 3/3 double strike, 6 mana thing that makes you a bunch of mana, 9 mana 9/9, 8 mana 5/5, right? There's all these like ridiculously huge mana costs, right? Like, and so, I guess wrongly, I thought that Wizards would have made a format that you could do these things.
Right.
And not get completely and totally embarrassed. Plus, all the things that make Power Stones, which are ways to get to these big things.
Seemed like reasonable spells.
Yeah, like Argothian Opportunist, Arbalest Engineer, Excavation Explosion, the weird excavation thing that gives you 3 Power Stones and gains you 3 life, right? Like, all of these cards were like, oh yeah, you're gonna have the mana to go big.
Yeah.
And so I sat down, and my first 3 drafts were all blue-green ramp.
Yeah.
And my results were middling to, like, bad. And I kept losing to these, like, lower-to-the-ground decks. And I was like, a lot of these cards are just, like, kind of bad.
Yeah.
Like, just, like, on face value, if you read this Magic card, it does not seem like a good Magic card.
Yeah, and I remember talking about that in our set review episode as well.
All right, so, I kept running my head into like, I'm going to go big, and then losing.
Mm-hmm.
And, right, like, I was like, well, no, this set's supposed to be the go big set.
Yeah.
And holding on to that idea led me to, like, really make some, like, have some bad drafts, because I was trying to, like, hold on to my idea from before the set came out, and I was doing a bad job of being like, what is beating me? Maybe I should do that.
Mm-hmm.
What are the cards that when they resolve, I go, oh, you're kidding me. Like, why am I not taking those cards? Right? And I wasn't taking them because I had a, like, a preconceived notions of what I thought the format was going to be.
Yeah.
Right. And I also, so like, when I like kind of moved off of that, my results improved. So I was ramping and like really hard pressed to like, I'm going to do the big thing. And so for my first 7 drafts, I probably should have done the math beforehand, but 8, 12, 14, 16, 20, call it 20. I was 20 and 21.
That's not
which
ideal.
Is pretty abysmal.
Yeah.
Right. And so at that point, right around there, I kind of stopped drafting for a few days, and I was like, well, what is a card I've not seen anyone play? And it was like Scatter Ray, the like one in the blue like mana leak.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm just gonna play like blue white, and blue white was fine. Went 4-3, but I was like, I didn't have a lot of good 2-drops. I think like that was something I didn't really prioritize enough was 2-drops. But I was like, okay. The best I had done was 4-3. I had gone 4-3, like that was my 4th 4-3.
Yeah.
So I hadn't done like really well. But then like I listened to limited resources and kind of like they were like, yeah, the format's more aggressive, or they termed it assertive, like you've got to be doing something all the time. I was like, okay, let me work on keeping my curves down and focusing more on that. And so I did blue red, and then I got like a string of white decks. So blue red, I went 3-3. Then like white black and white red, I got 7 wins, like easy. And then I played red black the other day, got 5 wins. Today's green white did not go well, but you're not gonna win them all. I went 2-3. Right. The deck was good, like, but my opponents just had good draws and what have you. Could have played better, but like I don't think it was the deck's fault. You know what I mean? So like it's to the point now where like I'm trying to keep my curve topping out at like maybe 2 4-drops, or maybe a couple 4-drops and maybe a 5. Like I'm much more focused on like getting good 2-drops.
Yeah, that's definitely a far cry from jamming as many 8 and 9 drops as you can.
Yeah. Like I want things like Ashnod's Harvester.
Yeah.
Ashnod's Harvester. There we go. I couldn't say it. Right, the colorless 3/1 with like Unearth.
Yeah.
And Scrapwork Mutt. Like that is another thing that I really want. It's like, oh, like it's 2/2/1s.
Yeah.
And like lets me get through lands. So I'm much more focused on that now. And since I kind of made that change, so my next 6 drafts, I'm 28 and 14.
No, that's much better.
Yes. So like making that change of like, hey, this format is not the way I thought it was.
Yeah.
Right. And so like what would it take me to get there? Well, 1, we get my teeth kicked in repeatedly. 2, like, I was getting frustrated and like digging my heels in. Being like, no, this is supposed to be the ramp format. I'm gonna ramp. As opposed to being like, oh, you know what? I'm getting my teeth kicked in by garbage 2-mana 3/1s. Right? Like I lose every game that my opponent goes like 1-2-3 removal spell or 1-2-3 trick.
Yeah.
Right? We talked about like Excavation Explosion didn't seem good at the beginning of the format. The card's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Because now that everyone's like playing 3-drops, you just get to get something. Right? Flying is really good. So like these stupid like whatever the like equipment that gives flying.
Yeah.
I would never play that card in a normal format. I want 1 in like every deck. It's just like, oh, I guess I'll make my 2-mana 3/1. I guess I'll give it flying and hit you for 4. And if I do this 3 times, you're gonna die because I have other stupid things.
Yeah.
Or like Ambush Paratrooper. Like that's not a card I would normally draft, but every time my opponent played it, I would get frustrated because like, what the hell? Like now I'm gonna lose the game.
Yeah.
Because they had like 2 of these things. And it's like, well, I guess maybe I should just take them, right? And so, and it also took me going like to other sources, right? Uh, like usually LR is my like kind of go-to place, but wherever you go for like your content, but like to be like they were like, oh no, like the format's not like they're like blue green's the worst deck. Don't draft blue green. It's like, oh,
Oops.
the thing I was doing, and I like drafted a couple mill decks because I was like, oh, the format's slow. I can like mill people. No, bad idea.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of like abandoned good draft fundamentals of just like take removal and creatures.
Yeah.
And the occasional pump spell. So like, I'm gonna like Keening Stone and Millstone you and die. Right. You know what Keening Stone doesn't do? Doesn't block a 2-mana 3/1.
Sure doesn't.
Just 5 mana, die.
Doesn't kill a creature either.
Doesn't do anything. Right.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you just have to go like, you know what? Like I'm screwing up because of how I thought the format was going to work. I need to kind of like recenter myself on like having a good curve.
Yeah.
You know, being James and trying to go 1, 2, 3, you're dead.
That's one of my favorite things to do in Limited.
Right. And so trying to do that. And like
that's weird though, because I tried doing that like in my, you know, dipping my toe into this Limited format and it didn't work out for me. But maybe the timing was just wrong. Like, yeah, I mean, this journey has taken you, you know, a few weeks at this point, and maybe the format wasn't ready for 1, 2, 3, you're dead in week 1.
And like, the Strong Bull, right? The like that card's nuts.
Yeah.
Right. Like you just have like your opponent. You're just like, oh, I guess I'll just feed like 3 artifacts to this thing and kill you. Right. Like I had an opponent that had 2 of the like tap gain a life guys, and I just like sacked my board and killed them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, okay. Like a card that I wouldn't normally. Same with like Sibling Rivalry, like the Threaten. I hardly ever play those kind of cards, but it's like, well, if I have a bunch of Strong Bulls, I guess that card gets really good, and I guess I should play it.
Yep.
Right. So like, there's a bunch of cards that I normally wouldn't play that are good in this format. That I was just like, okay, I guess I kind of have to like adapt to what the format's doing. And sometimes like the draft I had today, right? I think the deck kind of like adhered to like what the format's about. It was green white. I was a little light on removal, but like you look at it and you're like, no, like this is what's been successful. I just like ran into like a couple, like not even bad matchups. They just did my thing better.
Yeah.
Like my last game, they played the 2/1 that dies into a Thopter and gets a counter if you draw an extra card.
Yeah.
They went Thopter Engineer, Phyrexian Rager, and then Evangelosynthesis. I was like, oh, you have 2 4/3s now. I can't race you anymore. I guess I die.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you did the thing better than I could do the thing. So yeah, cool. But like the deck still kind of like made sense cohesively with like what the format was doing.
Yeah.
So just like being open to like, hey, I think things are going wrong. Like maybe in like 3 weeks we're like, hey, Explorer isn't gonna be all about mono green versus Rakdos. There's going to be other things that are viable. Or maybe it is, but we have to kind of like wait and see.
Yeah.
So we do have Pioneers like a judge.
Right. You mentioned like looking for other sources of information so you get like different perspectives or whatever. And you said that LR is, you know, a good place where you usually look. And I agree that LR is a really good place to look for information on Limited. But do you ever look at like the 17 lands data?
I don't. I should. They do a couple what is it called? 17 lands shows on LR now.
Oh, okay.
They bring in his name's Circovitz. He's I think he has a PhD. His PhD in biology, and he does like data analysis as his job. And he does data analysis for 17 lands. He like puts out articles and stuff.
Yeah.
But like the number one common or something with the highest win rate where's it at? is I want just commons. Is like the Scrapwork Cohort, the 4-mana 3/1 that makes a 1/1 with Unearth.
Yeah.
Right? It has like a 58% win rate. Airlift Chaplain has a 58% win rate. I had 3 in my deck that I got dumpstered with today.
Yeah.
I feel fine with my picks. Right? Then Scrapwork Mutt, then Ambush Paratrooper.
Hey, none of those are rampy cards.
None of those are Military Discipline is the like +1/+0 and it gets first strike to end of turn enchantment.
Yeah.
Right, they're all white. Right, the top of the top 1, 2, gosh. The first non-red or white card is Gaia's Gift, like 12 or something.
Yeah.
But 17 lands, if you can go through and like, here's game in hand win rate. Yeah, it matches the same. Let's do that. Yeah. Scrapwork Cohort, Scrapwork Mutt, Excavation Explosion, Airlift Chaplain, Gaia's Gift, Prison Sentence, Ambush Paratrooper, Aeronaut Cavalry, Overwhelming Remorse, which is black. Oh, that's the removal spell. But like, no, not ramp cards.
Right.
Like 17 lands gives you that. Like it's a lot of it's just like raw data, and you kind of gotta pick through it. But I think they do have. There are some articles. Yeah, there are articles on like how to use win rate data from Circovitz, and Circovitz is who
does the analysis.
Does a lot of the analysis and goes on to LR.
Yeah.
But like, watch, like if you're having problems with a format, like even standard, you're like, oh, I thought fill in the blank. I thought blue was going to be good, so I'm playing all these blue decks and I keep losing. And it's like, well, if everyone you see is playing mono black, right? Maybe you like misjudged the format, and it's time to be like, you know what? No more islands. It's swamp time for me.
I mean, I think that's always the case, though.
For you, yes, for you, right? But right, like I don't know if you were like Hullbreaker Horror, right? If you're like, oh man, that card's nuts. Like, I think that's the best card in the format. I want to play Hullbreaker Horror, right? And then like your opponent just goes like Lily into Shieldred, right? You never get to play your Hullbreaker Horror.
Yeah.
Or, like you can play Titan of Industry, but you have to like cheat it into play a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like you can't get there. So just like, being flexible and being like, oh, everyone I'm seeing is playing these kind of decks. I should, if I want to win, I should maybe gravitate more this way, or really focus on how am I going to combat that.
Yeah.
Right. Which is a little easier to do in constructed and limited. But like finding some other place, like, outside of yourself to like get some information to be like, hey, you know what? I need to, and like, there's a bunch of jamokes putting things on YouTube, right? You can't watch them all, but you can, what's it called? Right? You can pick people that you like trust, or that, I mean, at this point in the Magic content life cycle, like pick people that you enjoy watching, right? And be like, oh, hey, like these are and like understand, like, if you're watching Saffron Olive content, that is usually a fun thing that may have a kernel of truth in it.
For entertainment purposes only.
Yeah. Where you can watch something and you go like, oh, that's a neat interaction. There might be a better way to build that deck.
So, I mean, this is like way off topic, so I apologize for derailing the conversation here for a minute. But maybe that's what's wrong with Magic now.
What?
Like the content, I mean, I kind of alluded to it in our intro when I was talking about my Tuesday tomfoolery, how I'm not really playing competitive decks. I'm playing decks for fun, or decks that record well, decks that make good entertainment, and that's obviously where Saffron Olive has found his niche. But maybe that's a function of like the Magic ecosystem now, where because it's so much like the videos that are more entertaining get more clicks, and the videos that are just like a mid-range slog fest don't get clicks, so people are only exposed to certain archetypes, certain decks, whatever.
I think there's some of that where if your interaction with Magic is like mainly watching Magic videos, like the things that you find, the people that you want to spend an hour with, right, those kind of decks are going to be what you gravitate towards. And so is it you want to spend an hour with this person because they have like a fun personality, or do you want to spend an hour with them because they play fun and interesting decks, or you want to spend an hour with them because like you're learning how to grind out the percentages? And I think because of how Magic as a whole has shifted away from competitive play, right, you're not as many people are going to be willing to sit and spend an hour watching, again, sorry, Reed, who seems like he's 2 ambience in, grind out like
a half a
the
percentage
optimal
point
line. Yeah, half a percentage point on like, do I tap this elf now or later? Yeah. Right? Versus watching someone who is like, they find genuinely entertaining. Yeah. And I mean, I watch my Magic rotation of videos is I watch Thraben Yu because interesting decks. Yes. Right? He is not always the warmest and fuzziest, not always the most entertaining, but he plays pretty well. And
I think he plays more than pretty well. He plays.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he's good.
Right, and he plays interesting decks. Yeah. Right now, I don't think I would, if his channel was just him playing Death and Taxes 5 days a week, like he would lose me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what his channel used to be, and he only like found success when he started kind of branching out some.
And like just playing variety decks. Yeah. And then I watch Bryant Cook. The Epic Storm is the YouTube channel where, again, Bryant Cook is, probably in the top 100, 200 Magic players in the world. Yeah. He doesn't have as much Pro Tour success because he doesn't care. Right. He's like, I'm going to play combo decks. Like, apparently he was a Delver player in Legacy for like ever. He's like, I want to play Legacy, and I guess I'll play some other stuff. But I want to play Legacy. Right? But he plays interesting decks, plays something different like every day, and like he often goes back to decks and goes, here's what I changed, and here's the reason why. Yeah. And then he plays the games, and the games are fine. Right? But like, I used to like watch every Andrea Mangucci video about Legacy. I see them pop up, and I'm like, not feeling it, Mangu. Right, I used to watch almost every Reed Duke video.
I still get unreasonably excited when I see Reed Duke dusting off the Jund in Modern.
Like Boomer Jund, yeah.
Boomer Jund,
but like it used to be like that you and I were no more than like 2 months from like spending 4 hours in a car. Yeah. And too much money for a hotel. Yep. Right? And we wanted to do well, so like it was like, oh, I need to watch these other people play games in the format because I don't have the time to play a bunch of hours a day. I need to see what the format is doing, what they're playing against, what they're playing.
Seat time by proxy.
But now we don't have that, right? So then the people that are good at getting you those last few percentage points are like attacking the metagame. There is no metagame. Right. The metagame implies that there are people playing high level events. And like, I don't know, like I keep seeing tweets about like, oh hey, there was a like an RPQ, an RPT or whatever, an RPQ, that was a 2 slaughter that had 8 people.
Yeah.
It was single a limb. And it's like, you know, that never used to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we've been to like PTQs with 40 people.
Yeah, and there seems like there's a lot of like, oh yeah, I went to a place there were 16 people, and like we would get those sometimes too.
Yeah,
but there was always like, there seems like there's a lot of that where there's not that interest.
Yeah.
So, like, are you gonna watch someone that you find entertaining? Yeah, like if you're gonna spend an hour, that's another like, you've got the videos. You're like, I don't know how many like matches you play, but your videos are like 20, 30 minutes.
I play enough matches to fill up 15 to 20 minutes.
Right. So like you play like 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I try to be entertaining, but like my draft videos end up being like an hour.
Yeah.
Some of the early draft videos in this format were like an hour 45.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you're going to sit down and like hang out with someone, hopefully I'm like entertaining / like informative for people to watch me. But like if you're going to like commit an hour,
right.
Like you don't want to be like, this is a miserable person to be with for an hour.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so, when I sat down to do my videos, that was one of the things that I was kind of shooting for, is like almost all of our content is like super long form, like, you know, us having a conversation about whatever we're having a conversation about, or, you know, us analyzing a new set release, or, you know, your draft videos where you walk through like an entire half-hour draft and then, you know, somewhere between 3 and 7 wins afterwards. Like all of our content is kind of long form, so I was
doing something shorter.
Yeah, kind of shooting for, and I mean, I record a lot more than like ends up in the video, but yeah, I was kind of shooting for about 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, but like it's hard. Like I'd say that typical Magic content is probably about an hour.
Yeah,
and right, if like you're not enjoying that hour. You used to, if you didn't enjoy the hour, you felt like you were learning something, but there's less of an imperative to learn things now.
Absolutely.
So, like, that is why content has shifted. And, like, there's more Commander content. Like, when's the last time PK put out a gameplay video?
I have no idea.
A bunch of his stuff now is, like, straight to camera, like, complaining about stuff. And it used to be that every couple weeks he put out like some highly edited.
Well, I mean, he started making gameplay content, and that's all he did for a long time before he like hopped in front, hopped up on his soapbox, and
but like you could count on like once a month, once every 2 weeks, a highly edited, entertaining video, and like they must not have been getting the clicks, so he stopped.
Yeah.
So. Back to preconceptions.
Coming
full circle. That's right. No. Right. So this kind of thing has happened before, right? I can think of 2 formats. The first being Streets, like Streets of New Capenna Unlimited, or should have been a slow dirtle fest of 3 colors mushing into each other.
Yep.
And what was it? It was you draft blue-white. And you like play some flyers and you counter something and you won the game. Right? Like it just was like not, you couldn't do like the big things. Now there was like, you know, secret like Grixis control that wasn't really a Maestro's deck kind of deal and things like that. But it wasn't like that like slow getting your mana underneath you, playing like 3 color spells. It was like play blue-white, play brokers, and kind of be like be tempo-y, be aggressive and disruptive, right? And then there was like Kaldheim, which maybe Kaldheim was like maybe it did give us what we kind of expected, which was like snow.
Yeah.
But that was another format where I kind of held on to like, I want to play like this thing, and it was like, no, like you either play like, you know, a top tier snow deck, or you play like red white garbage commons.
Well, I don't think anybody expected the snow decks to be 5-color good stuff. Like this, people expected the 5 decks or the snow decks to be like, you know, Simic or Sultai.
Yeah, blue-green snow or Sultai snow, and it just ended up being 5-color good stuff.
Yeah.
Like mush, and then 1 mana, 1/2 flying first strike with the stupid like helm on it that if you blocked it, you still took a damage.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that was like the format, and was like, oh, I was not expecting there to only be 2 decks in this format.
Yeah.
Oh, sad. And then I think there are like cards that like you expect certain things, and then you have to like respond. You know, I thought I picked 2 examples of cards that were better than I think we thought they were going to be. Like Shieldred.
Yeah.
There's still part of me that's like, I feel like this card is bad, but I also feel like I also know that just putting Shieldred and Swamps in a deck is apparently a tier 2 archetype in Legacy.
Yeah.
Just like by itself. What are you putting around it? I don't know.
I have lost to Shieldred a lot. And I don't even play Standard, and I've lost to Shieldred a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of just like, it is a card that, like, if you don't have a removal spell, you just lose.
Yeah.
Now, you know, I think our analysis was, hey, you know, Siege Rhino, it came into play, and you got paid off, like, immediately. And Death Touch on a 4/5, kind of who cares? It's already big enough to kill everything.
Right.
So, like, you know, the thought was like, well, you just have a removal spell and you kill it. But the times that you don't, the game just snowballs and you lose.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, that was a card that we, like, I think a lot of people missed. Right? That was like, oh, it might be good. And it was just like, oh, I'm going to try 1 on my Legacy deck. Oh, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's just a full 5. Like, I'll hold on to 1 in case they kill the one I played. Like, I just want as many of these as I can get.
I don't think anybody expected it to be format defining.
No, which it is.
Yeah.
And then you also have Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Right? That card was like $1.
Yeah.
And, like, we all missed it.
Well, I kind of thought this one was going to be good. I have quite a few copies.
Yeah. I don't know, if you have quite a few, it might be time to make them go away.
Yeah.
I think they're like, the regular ones are $17.
Oh, yeah, they need to go away. I think I've got 12 of them.
Yes. I have 4. I got mine at like $6.
Yeah.
But like, if you look at when they came out, well, Streets of New Capenna, they were like $1?
Yeah, I think I paid $1 or $1.25 for them or something like that.
Yeah, well, it was $4.50. I can't go. It doesn't let me to go back any further. Let me go back further. Come on now. Yeah, but like when they first came out, they were really cheap.
Yeah,
and so there was a day that they were $72.
Oh yeah, I should have sold them that day.
Like. Oh, wait, sorry. This is on Moto. Let me go back to, like, real world. Sorry. Okay. So when it came out, they were 50 cents. They were 50 cents for almost a month.
Yeah.
And then they went up to, like, $6, which is where I think I got mine. And now they're up to, like, 18.
Yeah. I have.
Right? And, like.
I have 8 normals and 4 foils.
Okay. You may wish to make them go away.
Yep. Make them disappear.
But. Right, like that was a card that, at least for a month, the majority of Magic players did not think was very good. And now, like, again, if your deck plays Mountain, you play Fable. Like I guess the burn decks don't, but everyone else does.
Yeah.
Right? And you just have to be like, oh, you know what? Like, I missed that one. I need to, like, respond, you know, like, oh, it went to $6 and it's kind of everywhere. I guess I need to get some. I didn't realize they went to 17, and they've been 17 since September.
I mean,
like,
like you could probably throw Ledger Shredder in this category too, right?
Oh, absolutely. It was like $1 or $2, and then it went haywire.
Yeah.
So it was, how much is it now? They're 20.
Yeah.
Sorry, I gotta get off the Moto results. There we go. Yeah, they've been 20 for months now.
Yeah.
Like,
I never bought mine, unfortunately.
I have one. Before release, they were $1. And then just before release, they went to like 9 or 10. I think that like there was like an early access event and people saw them in action and they like spiked right before release.
Mm-hmm.
But like those are cards. I mean, the greatest example of this of all time for all of us boomers out there is JVP.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Jace Vryn's Prodigy. If you look at the like set breakdowns and set previews, people were like, "This card's garbage. It's no good. This is the worst of all the flip walkers. It's terrible." Card was $100 when it was in standard.
Yep, in standard.
Imagine how much like Fable the Mirror Breaker would be if like standard got played.
Right.
Right, or like Ledger Shredder, or like even Shieldred.
Yep. Yeah, so Jace Vryn's Prodigy, what's that? 10 days after release was $12, and 3 sets later was at $90, $93.
So just like sometimes you just get cards wrong.
Yep.
Or like, you know, I still look at Shieldred and part of me just goes like, I don't understand why this card is so good.
Yep.
Like I know it's good, but I'm just like, you just kill it and then you move on. And it's like, but sometimes you don't, and then you lose. It's like fair.
Well, I think the part of the thing that I missed when I was evaluating Shieldred is that it just stabilizes you. It does the same thing that Siege Rhino did, is that it just stabilizes you. It comes down early enough where like most of your opponents are like still in either the setup or trying to apply pressure phase, and they're not really in the holding up removal for your 4-drop phase. So it comes down, deals 2 damage, gains you 2 life, and then at some point gets handled. And it just it is big enough to fend off an attack. It eats a removal spell, and it's a 4-point life swing. So I guess I underestimated how much it just stabilizes you when you cast it.
Yes. But like just that you know, being able to be like, you know what, hey, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Like this card is better than I thought.
Yeah.
Is like an important skill to have. Also, just for just a sense of like wizard magic currently. So I'm on MTG Goldfish looking at prices.
Yep.
How many different printings of Shieldred are there?
3, 4, 3.
Double that.
How?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There is pre-release foil.
Oh, I wasn't counting
Planeswalker
foils.
stamp
Okay.
Foil. Phyrexian text foil. Textured foil full art.
Oh.
Showcase foil. The
Holy moly.
The regular foil, the Planeswalker stamp, the textured foil full art, which is somehow different than this other one. Textured foil. Maybe there's only 10 because this one seems like it doesn't have a price. The showcase version, the Phyrexian language regular version, and then the regular set version.
So I like how the fancy Phyrexian text one is the cheapest version, not the regular normal copy.
Yeah. So, what does your card do? Squiggles. It does squiggles.
Yeah. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. But, so just like, being able to get off of something and be like, you know what? I done goofed.
Yep.
Right? I done goofed on what I thought the format was going to be. I need to adapt. I missed this card in pre-release. I need to, adapt and either, figure out how to get it, figure out how to play around it. It is, something I was wrong about.
Yep.
Also, just fun, right? We named a card from the last 3 sets that is now a legacy staple.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. I guess there's not one from Brothers War that I can think of that's just like a legacy staple.
Yet.
But Fable.
Mm-hmm. Ledger Shredder.
Shieldred. You used to get one card that saw legacy play, a set, maybe fringy legacy play.
Right.
Not one card that defined an archetype, a set.
Yeah.
And that's not even you could even argue that unlicensed Hearse.
Yeah.
Is actually the bigger impact than
Ledger Shredder.
Ledger Shredder, yeah.
Probably.
But yeah, weird. So yeah, just don't be afraid to say I'm wrong and I need to do something different because what I'm doing isn't working.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a good life lesson, not just a good magic lesson.
It is a good life lesson, yeah. Yeah.
Comes with old age and experience.
Yes. But I assume that many of our listeners are of our similar age and station.
Yeah.
And I always kind of bristle when LSV does his sign-offs and talks about deep life lessons, and sometimes I'm just like, dude, stop.
Yeah.
Right, come on now. So if you would apply it to life, so be it. But I'm not going to be like, here's how you live your life. Adult who's just as adulty as me, maybe more so. Right? I just sit in front of a mic. So hey, whatever.
I don't know, Professor Doctor over there. It's probably.
Hey, I try.
I think you're plenty adult.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I think you're pretty adult myself.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
So, with all that, I think we have a show.
We have a show.
All right. So, if you wanna get at us and tell me how adulty you are, you can find all of our social media links in the description. I usually am pretty good about getting back to you on Twitter.
Yeah.
We get back to you pretty frequently on Discord, so those are the best 2 places to track us down.
Yep,
Facebook is on there as well. And our email.
Yeah, I check the email not as often as I used to because we've started getting a lot of garbage email and not a lot of listener email. But I check it at least before every show. So that is a way you can get a hold of us as well. And also, if you have any life lessons for us, you can get at us and let us know your own life lessons that you would like for us to apply.
Yes.
Maybe we will, maybe we won't. We're old.
We are old. It is hard to change.
Yeah. If you want to support the show, if you like what we do and you want more of it, there's 2 ways you can show your support. First is through our TCG player affiliate link, tcg.casualtryhardmtg.com. Follow that link. Buy whatever you're going to buy. We know you're going to buy something, so you might as well support the show while you're doing it. Anything you purchase after using that link will get a percentage of to help the show out. Or if you want to support us directly, you can do so at patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. You can throw us a couple bucks. You'll get our forever gratitude for supporting the show, and also access to our show notes, access to our pre-show. And once in a while, when I have things to send out, you'll get put on my mailing list for that stuff as well. So Patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Chip a couple bucks in. We would appreciate it.
Yeah. So with that, we'll catch you on the internet.
We'll catch you on the internet.